On the next episode of Ashoka.
I had promised you that I would kill just about anyone who would harm her in any way. Today is the last day of your life, Bindusar.
What are you doing? In order to face the enemy, Magad needs all its sons. And only Sushim can bring Ashok back. You have lost today, Chanakya. Magad has lost today.
Coronavirus disease is now spreading within counties in Kenya, from person to person through contact with droplets when an infected person speaks, coughs or sneezes, or through touching contaminated surfaces and objects. Anybody with a weakened body immunity has a greater risk of contracting coronavirus disease. People living with pre-existing medical conditions such as HIV, cancer, TB, diabetes, among others, must adhere to their treatment to strengthen immunity, and therefore should ensure they have a constant supply of necessary medicines. Contact your clinic or health facility for information on how to access treatment. Help others within your network to access adequate supply of essential medicines. Ensure that you remain connected with your local networks for any support, and follow the medical guidelines provided by your health facility to prevent coronavirus. Remember to stay updated with information on coronavirus using only trusted reliable channels. For more information on COVID-19, call 719 or dial *719#. COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, your family, and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Channel 1 News Hour this Tuesday, the 13th of April 2021. Indeed, we begin this broadcast on a very positive note, a medical milestone. It was on this day that the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital did announce removing a huge growth, as you can see, from a woman who came from Bungoma County. Beatrice Makoha is her name, and of course this lady, as you can see, this is what the experts are doing. But from the previous photo that we had, she had a huge growth covering her face and the frontal sinuses and also the frontal bones. And you can imagine how heavy it was for her. And the doctors had reported that she had visited so many hospitals before being referred from Bungoma Referral Hospital to Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. A team of experts led by Dr. Thuku right there doing the surgery. And after hours of this procedure, she came out. It was a success. There you go. And the doctors, there you go. She is now relieved. And of course, after a few days, doctors are saying they will be able to discharge her. And the team, the multidisciplinary team, did report once again that this growth had a fluid of about 3 liters of dermoid fluid. And you can imagine what that is. And normally this operation could have costed over $500,000 Kenya shillings, but this was done at free of charge, and it's a medical milestone we are celebrating. This is how she looked, and she had visited so many hospitals for this. Bungoma Hospital was the last hospital before she was referred to Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. And once again, after hours of the procedure by the team led by Dr. Thuku, of course, his expertise of maxillofacial surgeon, she was able to they were able to successfully remove this cystic growth, a medical milestone we celebrate tonight. And of course, this tells you that you really do not have to travel outside the country to get some of these services. In 2016, we saw another milestone where doctors at Kenyatta National Hospital did separate conjoined twins. And of course, those twins who had been born conjoined in 2014 went home happy, and the family went home happy, and they are now happy and leading an normal life. We still have much more coming up shortly, including the COVID-19 curve that does not look so good. We still are at 15.4% positivity rate. Let's have a look at more stories making headlines tonight. A new dawn for county governments as Senate approves the largest ever allocation of equitable share of 370 billion shillings.
Would be able to be an intellectual leader. But beyond that, I am also a person who has extensive experience in leading.
Finding the next Chief Justice, law professor with a 30 years plus career in academia, Patricia Kameri Mbote appears before the Judicial Service Commission interviewing panel. And Muslims around the world begin observing the holy month of Ramadan under tight restrictions for the second consecutive year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Purity Museo, and Anne Wangeshi is our sign language interpreter tonight at Purity_Museo on Twitter and at KBC Channel 1, the hashtag Channel 1 News Hour. You can interact with us. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube and all other social media platforms. Let's get started. County governments are set to receive for the first time the largest allocation in the county equitable share after the Senate passed the Division of Revenue bill. In a special sitting on Tuesday, senators adopted amendments proposed in a report of the Finance and Budget Committee that will see counties' share raised by the whopping 53.5 billion shillings to 370 billion shillings. Last year, the Senate was at a crossroad over the revenue allocation formula that would have seen some counties gaining and others losing resources before they settled on a win-win formula. Right, we'll be getting that report in a short while. Meanwhile, the search for the country's next Chief Justice entered the second day, with law professor Patricia Kameri Mbote appearing before the interviewing panel. Professor Mbote, who has spent over 3 decades in academia, was hard-pressed to explain her suitability for the post given her lack of experience as a practicing lawyer or judge. As Ben Chumba reports, the 58-year-old professor and senior counsel said she will leverage on her networks in the academia world to tackle the issues of underfunding of the Judicial Service Commission, which she claims has hindered training judicial staff.
What unique leadership qualities will you bring as a CJ if you are successful?
On Tuesday, law professor Patricia Kameri Mbote faced the Judicial Service Commission for vetting for the prestigious post of Chief Justice of Kenya.
You don't have that jurisprudential skills, but you are intellectual.
But as Professor Mbote will find out during the interview, securing the position will not be easy, as the 9-member panel put her on tight spot to explain how her over 30 years experience in the academia will be beneficial to the judiciary.
I would be able to be an intellectual leader. But beyond that, I am also a person who has extensive experience in leading diverse teams. The practice of law is not really just about going to court. I probably have a lot more practice of law and practice within the judiciary.
Given her lack of experience as practicing lawyer or judge, the commissioners were much interested to understand how the professor at the University of Nairobi School of Law intends to steer the country's top court and the judiciary as a whole if appointed as the next Chief Justice.
But I haven't worked in the judiciary, that is what you're saying. But I'm not going to be the first person that came into the Supreme Court that had not been in the judiciary. And I think if the others have learned, I can learn.
Professor Mbote was tasked to demonstrate how she intends to solve the 2/3 gender rule quagmire, increasing backlog of cases in courts, as well as the disobedience of court orders, especially by other arms of government.
I would have a process of even whistleblowers who then enable us to get people who are engaged in the vice. And I believe once you get one and you handle them firmly, then you will have removed the rotten egg, if you like.
The interview also scrutinized the professor's career journey, with the panelists seeking to know why she opted to start a competing law school at Strathmore University immediately after she failed to secure a position of dean at the University of Nairobi.
I was young and restless then. I was in my 40s. I am now headed to 60.
Because if it was a business, you would have been fired on the spot.
Even in leaving, though I said I was restless, I was within my rights to leave. You can take unpaid leave.
Don't you think it was unethical? Don't you think it was not good to do that?
What I did was unusual. Starting competition was not usual. So, Chief Justice, I have become a lot more less restless.
I hear you.
Professor Mbote, who is the second of 10 candidates to be interviewed, was also hard-pressed to give her position on the Building Bridges Initiative document and whether her involvement in the process would affect her position as Chief Justice.
I did not write this document. I have engaged in the BBI in looking at how it affects certain constitutional provisions as a scholar. And I am currently advising Parliament on the proposed amendment.
On Wednesday, Lady Justice Martha Koome, who is currently serving in the Court of Appeal in Nairobi, will face the panel chaired by Professor Olive Mugenda. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria has been fined 75,000 Kenya shillings for flouting COVID-19 containment measures. The lawmaker was arrested alongside 29 other suspects after they were found merrymaking in Kiambaa past curfew hours. The legislator rather pleaded guilty to the charges.
Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria and his co-accused were arraigned before Chief Magistrate Stella Adambo on Tuesday, where they pleaded guilty to breaking COVID-19 containment measures.
They will never do it again going forward, and definitely if you are to exercise your discretion and give them an unconditional discharge, they give a personal pledge that this will be the last time you'll ever see them appearing before the court being arraigned in respect to this kind of charges.
The legislator and his co-accused were fined 75,000 Kenya shilling each, or a 6-month imprisonment.
15,000 each in this 8 months imprisonment. Exhibits number 1 to 4 will be submitted to the state. These sentences run consecutively, and anybody who is aggrieved by the state has a right of appeal of 14 days.
The government has in recent days reiterated that no one will be spared if found to have flouted the COVID-19 containment measures. Elsewhere, police carried out a crackdown in Nanyuki town, arresting all those flouting COVID-19 measures a day after Laikipia County government said it is under immense pressure to deal with the rising COVID-19 patients.
COVID-19 cases imeenda juu kuliko hata diseases. Ndio sababu leo tumeform hii kamati na waanze hiyo kazi mpaka siku ambayo tunaona tumepata majibu ama tuone kama tumereduce the impact of COVID-19 cases.
Led by OCPD John Tarus and Deputy County Commissioner Esther Mwamure, the officers raided various places in town where they arrested over 50 people.
Mtu mwenye atapatikana hana mask na hata mwenye ambaye ameivaa vibaya tutamchukulia hatua. Koti iko wazi. Tunataka kuambia saa hii tukiwashika mnakuwa booked na mnaenda kotini.
Laikipia County has so far recorded 2,010 COVID-19 cases, out of which 249 were recorded in the last 10 days.
On to the COVID-19 daily update. 991 more people have tested positive for the novel coronavirus in the last 24 hours from 6,417 samples screened, bringing the infections rate to 15.4%. The Minister of Health has also announced 26 fatalities from the disease, clarifying 1 death occurred within 24 hours, while the rest within the last 1 month. The youngest patient in the 991 new coronavirus infections reported in the last 24 hours is a 7-month-old infant, while the oldest is 99 years. The total number of infections in Kenya since March last year now stands at 147,147, with 1,571,244 cumulative tests conducted so far. 26 COVID-19 related deaths were also recorded, 1 reported between Monday and Tuesday, while 25 patients succumbed on diverse dates in the last 1 month. The death toll currently stands at 2,394. 370 patients have recovered from the disease, 124 from home-based and isolation care, while 156 from various health facilities. Kenya has so far vaccinated 526,026 people with the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Meanwhile, U.S. health authorities are calling for a pause in the use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine after reports of extremely rare blood clotting cases. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, said it was acting out of an abundance of caution. It is said 6 cases of severe blood clotting had been detected in more than 6.8 million doses of the vaccine. The recommendation follows similar rare cases in the Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine, which has prompted some restrictions in its use. In the meantime, Indian regulators have approved the use of the Russian Sputnik 5 COVID-19 vaccine. Through its official Twitter account, Sputnik 5 announced that India, the world's second most populous nation, became the 60th country to register Sputnik 5 vaccine after positive results of local phase 3 clinical study. It is the third coronavirus vaccine to be approved for use in India amid a deadly second wave of infections. Sputnik 5 has been deemed to be safe and works in a way similar to the Oxford-AstraZeneca jab, which is being made in India as Covishield. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News. Let's now revisit our top story. County governments are set to receive for the first time the largest allocation in the county equitable share after the Senate passed the Division of Revenue Bill. In a special sitting on Tuesday, senators adopted amendments proposed in a report of the Finance and Budget Committee that will see counties' share raised by a whopping 53.5 billion shillings to 370 billion shillings. Last year, the Senate was at a crossroad over the revenue allocation formula that would have seen some counties gaining while others losing resources before they settled on a win-win formula.
A special sitting Tuesday afternoon saw senators pass the much-awaited Division of Revenue Bill, setting a new record in the county equitable share 7 years since devolution came into effect.
For the first time since I joined this House, we have passed a division of revenue without acrimony and without fighting with the National Assembly or without fighting with the executive. Madam Speaker, we have succeeded to increase the equitable share from 316 to 370 billion, a 17% increment.
And so at 370, and actually collectively, together with the conditional grants, at 409.88 billion, that's a very big win for devolution.
Senators who unanimously approved the bill that also complied to a ruling in the High Court that conditional grants are not provided for in the Division of Revenue Bill, but from the national government's share, say their prolonged fight to have county allocation improved has paid off.
It must go to the books, to the annals of history, that we achieved these 370 billion after a very protracted fight that, Madam Speaker, kept us in this House for almost 3 to 4 months, continuously negotiating.
For my county of Taita Taveta, we are getting a DORA, or shareable revenue, increase from 4.2 billion to 4.8 billion, an increment of 600 million. That is money that would go to development of Taita Taveta.
With more money is now set to go to the devolved units, senators are warning against misuse of funds.
The increase of 53.3 B should not be in vain. It should translate to service delivery to the people.
Reduce cases of pilferage, as much as we have been told time immemorial that 30% of our budget always goes to pilferage or corruption.
The amount of 2 billion shillings being spent every day, that type of leakage, if your house was leaking to like 2 billion shillings, that is a whole month's rain. Yeah? It is a flood, it's a tsunami.
As we pass this bill, I want to encourage counties to continue putting more emphasis on raising on-source revenue.
Also, the delay in disbursement of funds to counties by Treasury is still a headache.
Under Article 219 of the Constitution, it is very clear this issue of late disbursement to counties is an elephant in the room.
Madam Speaker, we are not requesting. I think we should be directing that the National Treasury must be bound and guided by the rule of law in terms of exchequer releases to county governments for proper execution of projects.
With about 2 months to the start of the next financial year, county bosses may need to strategize on how to prudently utilize the resources even as they celebrate. Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News.
And you're watching Channel 1 News Hour this Tuesday night. Many thanks for staying with us. Keep talking to us. Tell us where you tuned in from. I'll be going through your feedback during and before the till end of this bulletin. We take a first commercial break. Don't go too far. We still have plenty more to come.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye Quickly ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitazama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353. Alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka kwenye Quickly ni bila bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
Next on.
Mke wangu mimi napata contract kwa mzee Chwa kufanya stage show. Stage show? Stage show. Stage show kutengeneza makabati ya kocha ya vyombo.
Kwanza na nini wewe?
Nilikuwa nakondoa fundi kidogo.
Kwa shida yako nini?
Mpangaji wenu yule. Ni mpangaji wetu. Mbaka rumu ile. Basi mimi ninakosea naona nini?
Wana sielewi ya mambo jamani. Mama bunja huku. Ni mtu gani mnaletea? Kundi gani huyu? Anaingia kwangu bila adabu. Ndio huyu mnaletea atakuja hapa kwanza. Ndio anaonekana. Kutoka mnaletea hana adabu.
Next on.
Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching News Hour, and Anwan Geshi is a sign language interpreter. Now, Muslims around the world have begun observing the holy month of Ramadan under tight restrictions for the second consecutive year due to COVID-19 pandemic that has affected many countries. In Kenya, faithful in the 5 counties affected by a partial lockdown will have a unique Ramadan season due to the stringent measures undertaken by the government to curb the third wave of COVID-19. The start of the holy month is determined by the sighting of the new moon.
As Muslims begin observing the holy month of Ramadan, traditionally a time of dawn to dusk fasting, festivities and communal prayer, an unprecedented global pandemic is changing the celebration for the second year in equally unprecedented ways. Muslims faithfuls within 5 counties that are under partial lockdown will not participate fully in many Ramadan's rituals and traditions this year. Prayers and celebrations will be done in the homes of Muslims faithful instead of mosques. All-night prayers, also known as Tarawih, will be performed before the curfew hours.
Nahimiza watu wetu kwamba wachukue nidhamu kulingana na desturi ambayo iliyoko na Wizara ya Afya. Kwa sababu zamani huwa tunajazana misikiti, lakini sasa imepungua kidogo.
Migori Council of Imams Chair Sheikh Ali Mohammed Yusuf says all-night prayers will end early enough to allow enough time for worshippers to get home on time.
Fahamu kafu inakwisha saa 4 sehemu kama hii yetu, kaunti zetu za huku. Kwa hivyo sala ya Tarawih itaanza saa 2:30, itakwisha saa 3:25 ama 20. Kwa hivyo kufika saa 3:30 misikiti zote za kaunti za Migori zinatakikana zifungwe. Na jana naona Mombasa pia mashekhe wameelekeza.
Chief Kadhi Sheikh Ahmed Mukhdar urged the able Muslim community and charitable institutions to assist the needy even as they observe the holy month.
Swala la watu kusaidiana na kuhurumiana, ili ni jambo la lazima la kawaida throughout the year. Mwaka mzima tunatakiwa tuwe tunasaidiana, tunawasaidia wale ndugu zetu ambao hawana uwezo wa kutosha, ama wako na ugonjwa, ama wamekumbana na balaa, Kwa hivyo tunaomba wale wanaojiweza wawasaidie wale ambao hawajiwezi.
Meanwhile, a host of local political leaders have sent messages of goodwill to the Muslim community. Deputy President William Ruto called on the faithfuls to pray for the country and the world and observe all protocols put in place to prevent spread of COVID-19.
Na wahusia muombee watoto wetu, familia zetu na taifa letu ili tupate rehema na thawabu za Mwenyezi Mungu. Mtuombee sisi viongozi wa matabaka yote ili tutambue na tuyatekeleze mapenzi ya Mungu kwa taifa letu, na pia Mungu atunusuru Wakenya wote kutoka kwa maovu.
Orient Democratic Movement leader Raila Odinga and his Amani National Congress counterpart ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi also sent their well wishes as Muslims commence the holy month of Ramadan. Meanwhile, at least 3,200 people from needy Muslim households in the drought-stricken parts of Isiolo County have begun receiving relief food donations. Isiolo County Secretary Dr. Ahmed Galgalo, who flagged off lorries that will transport the foodstuffs, called on members to help the underprivileged in the community during these harsh economic times.
Wakati yetu sasa kusimama na wale wenzetu ambaye hawajiwezi kifedha, tusimame na hawa, tufanye sadaka iwe mingi kwa hii mwezi. Ni wakati ya kuhakikisha kwamba tunapata thawabu mingi kutoka kwa Mwenyezi Mungu.
Now, today, President Uhuru Kenyatta met Somali community elders from Garissa County who paid him a visit at State House, Nairobi. The head of state and the elders discussed several national and regional matters, among them the progress of government development projects in the region. The president was introduced at the same time to the new Garissa Senator Abdul Kadir Mohamed Haji at the meeting, also attended by the head of public service Dr. Joseph Kinyua, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukuriatani, and Director of Public Prosecutions Nordin Haji. And still staying in the region, Garissa Senator Abdul Kadir Haji has urged the Senate to step up its oversight mandate to ensure utilization of resources allocated to the counties impact the lives of people at the grassroots. In his maiden speech after being sworn in, Haji challenged the House to boldly condemn corruption that has bedeviled development projects in the devolved units. The new senator was endorsed and opposed for the seat after the death of his father, Yusuf Haji.
With big shoes to fit into left by his father, the late Garissa Senator Yusuf Haji, Abdul Kadir Mohamed Haji, known for his heroic acts during the Westgate attack in 2013, took the oath of office in a special sitting attended by most of the senators.
Haji Abdul Kadir Mohamed, having been elected a member of the Senate, do swear in the name of the Almighty God.
Haji became the second legislator in the bicameral parliament to be elected unopposed after Kikuyu Member of Parliament Kimani Ichung'wah. Haji called on the Senate to show empathy in its oversight mandate and make sure devolved units get value for money.
The Constitution empowers us to represent the interests of the counties and their governments. And in this, I read that the debates and decisions we make, especially during these challenging times, must be empathetic to the people we represent in those counties. We must show empathy by being creative in how we make sure that the resources we oversight for our counties create a much-needed relief for our people.
Senator Haji underscoring the need for the House to help create job opportunities for youths.
They are also asking me to figure out a way in which we can help expand the scope of opportunities for them. Many are grappling with unemployment and underemployment. During this COVID pandemic period and post-COVID, we will be entering an age where work and jobs will be more fundamentally disrupted than at any point in the history of our country.
He used the occasion to reflect on the life and times of his late father, Senator Yusuf Haji, describing him as a man who worked hard and was devoted on improving the livelihoods of citizens in all capacities he served in.
I remember one time I asked my mother, "Why does Dad work so much?" She looked at me and said, "All fathers work hard. All fathers work a lot." I didn't realize it then, But that was one of the biggest lessons I learned from my father, the value of hard work. He woke up every day, put on his shoes, and went to work. Even when he was unwell, he would get up and go to work.
In their welcoming speech to the House, senators described the newest member of the Senate as a hero, urging him to embrace the role with vigor.
He's not just a senator for Garissa County. I want to encourage you, Senator Haji, that you represent the whole of Kenya in this august house. Just like on that day at Westgate, you went there to protect every life, irrespective of tribe, race, or status.
You are not new to the politics and also campaign. You had been a public servant. You are up to task. You must steer the people of Garissa to the next level.
We knew Yusuf Haji as the PC. And sometimes we joked when he was here and I said, my boss the PC, because that is who he was. He was a man of peace. He was a man of integrity.
Abdul Qadir Muhammad Haji becomes the second senator of Garissa County. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
To more politics, Orange Democratic Movement Party Migori branch officials have given Governor Okoth Obado a 7-day ultimatum to resign, saying they have commenced the process of expunging his name from the party's list of registered members. The branch officials say the recent proclamation by Obado that he had joined a rival party while still a registered member of the Orange Party contravenes the Political Parties Act and should not be condoned.
The decision by Migori Governor Okoth Obado to rejoin the People's Democratic Party PDP seemed to have irked the Orange Democratic Movement Migori branch officials, who are now demanding that he tenders his resignation. The official blamed the top ODM top brass for meddling with the grassroots affairs, saying it's not the first time they are recommending penalties against the governor.
If he fails to step down, the county leadership shall recommend to the national leadership to process of his removal under Chapter 5, Article 5.4.1 of the party ODM Constitution.
Namwambia akome na atoke chama cha ODM kama anataka. Chama cha ODM, sisi kama MCA wa Migori tunasema tuko gangari.
Suna West Member of Parliament Peter Masara scoffed off Obado's new political affiliation, saying it will have no impact on the political landscape in the region.
PDP. He has been a member of PDP from 2013. What they need to tell us now is what they have done with their party. They have been given resources from the national government to the tune of, by now, for 10 or 9 years, it is close to almost 60 billion. Let them account for what they have done to the people of Migori. We were not worried about PDP.
Meanwhile, Matungu Member of Parliament Peter Nabolindo has thrown his support behind the One Kenya Alliance, saying it has what it takes to form the next government. The lawmaker called on other like-minded leaders to support the coalition ahead of next year's general election.
Actually, I believe that Matungu was the arena of this unity. They found a reason to be together. And since they found that reason to be together, and it's a good reason, they will continue being together as we progress even in the future.
Elsewhere, the Kericho County Assembly's Appointments Committee on Tuesday vetted Deputy Governor nominee Lily Ngok at the Assembly's chambers. Ngok had a difficult time answering questions from the panel, especially on the county government flagship projects. The Education CEC was nominated for the position by Kericho Governor Paul Chepkwony 2 weeks ago, following the demise of Deputy Governor Susan Kikwai. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
Moving on, Kenyans have been warned against taking the law into their hands following stoning of a suspected thief in Embu West sub-county. A group of angry border operators descended on a man accusing him of being behind a spate of motorcycle theft in the area. The police, however, saved the suspect from lynching by the mob.
A suspected thief escaped death by a whisker after police in Embu West sub-county saved him from a lynch mob. The man had earlier been clobbered to a pulp by the irate bodaboda operators and was just about to be set ablaze before the police came to his rescue.
Na ni penye unapata mpaka vifo zimeanza kuwa juu za watu wa pikipiki sababu ukiibua pikipiki labda ule mtu anakujua kumaanisha labda ni rafiki yako anaacha amekuua. Lakini sasa tukipata mtu mmoja mwenye tunaweza kamata kabla aongee unakuta wengine wamekuja na mawe, wengine wamekuja na petroli wanataka kumchoma.
Police had earlier thought that the man had been beaten to death. Following the incident, Kenyans have been warned against taking the law into their own hands. Embu West Deputy Sub-County Police Commander Samuel Gitau says investigation has been launched into the matter. Meanwhile, a fresh standoff has emerged over the construction of the 24 billion shillings Karimenu 2 Dam water project in Gatundu North, Kiambu County. On Tuesday, locals ejected the contractor from the site, alleging that they are yet to be compensated for the piece of land.
Tukaambiwa ikifika mwisho wa mwezi wa 3 tutalipwa. Na mwezi wa 3 umefika, sasa ni mwezi wa 4 inaelekea kuisha, hatujaona kitu.
Tuko na miezi 6 na hiyo makaratasi kwa nyumba. Sasa tumeamua kufuga kasi kwa sababu badala ya kutulipa pesa wanakuja kuchukua masaba pale wanapea watu 50,000 ati wachukue mchanga ya kujenga ukuta.
Sasa imesimama kabisa na itasimama, itaendelea kusimama hata kama ni mwaka mzima mpaka kila mtu alipwe.
Meanwhile, a family in Kitui is seeking justice after their 11-year-old son was allegedly injured by a teacher at Kisayani Primary School. The family says the boy had his hand broken by the teacher for allegedly touching her car alarm. The family further says attempts to pursue justice through the local administration has proven futile.
Hii kesi niliripoti kwa Zambani police station, hawakunisaidia. Kutoka hapo nikaenda Zambani sub county, sikusaidika. Nikatoka hapo tena nikaenda kwa county director JC Kitui, sikusaidika. Naomba serikali.
Wengine unamuona ukijaribu kueba ndio umeumiza mwenzako.
At the same time, the police commander retracted his statement regarding the 7th April accident on Nyamasaria interchange that claimed 3 lives, saying that the truck involved in the accident was transporting sugarcane for West Kenya Sugar Company and not Kibo's Sugar Company, as earlier indicated.
This is regretted and should stand as corrected as such. This follows up a tracking from the management of the West Kenya. The contractor was actually carrying cane for them.
Reporting for Channel 1 News from Kisumu County, I'm Wycliffe Okage.
Elsewhere, an acute water shortage has hit parts of Lodwar town in Turkana County with
maana watoto wengi wanasoma Western Province, mashule za Western. Sasa tuangalie hawa watoto watafikiaje wazazi. Wazazi wana wasiwasi, watoto wana wasiwasi. Si kwa wanafunzi peke yake, wazazi pia wana wasiwasi.
Still in Busia, area Governor Hospital Ojamong has refuted claims of misuse of COVID-19 funds by his administration, terming them inaccurate and misleading. The governor says he is ready to account for the expenditure of the funds before the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. And Laikipia Governor Ndiritu Mreithi has reshuffled his cabinet in a bid to enhance service delivery in the county. The county executive for health, Dr. Lenai Kamairo, has been moved to county administration, and Rose Maitai, who was in charge of administration, will now head the health department.
We have made, in order to align our structure to the strategy that we are following.
The Kenya National Library Services in Mombasa County is partnering with the local children's book authors to promote a reading culture among children. The initiative, dubbed Mombasa Reads Kids Club, will ensure the cultivation of lifelong reading habits among children.
I believe books can transform us. Not only transforming and entertaining and teaching us, books are also a way to preserve and to pass on our generational knowledge that is existing, our cultures.
Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
This is Channel 1 News Hour. Thank you so much for staying with us. And at Chris, you're saying that you're watching from Sekuru, my hometown, okay? And then at Sam, tuned in as always. Thank you so much. Wilson Okango, you're watching Channel 1 News from Nakuru County. Thank you so much. And we also have Benny Musioka tuned in from MKU, Thika at Nelson too. You also tune in. David Maluki, as always, watching from Mombasa. Thank you so much. Another break.
A registration certificate as required by the Crop Act of 2013, with traders stating where their maize consignment will be stored. Importers were to be issued with a certificate of conformity from their country of origin to ensure they meet the EAC grain standards. The government has assured Kenyans the current restrictions will not result to a maize shortage, as the favorable weather conditions point to a surplus of 11.8 million 90-kilogram bags of maize by the end of May. This, as the government says, a 90-kilogram bag of maize is retailing at an average of 2,600 shillings in most parts of the country, with the highest prices of 4,392 shillings reported in Garissa County, while the lowest of 1,980 shillings per bag reported in Laikipia County.
And the county governments of Machakos, Makueni and Kajiado have suspended the issuance of new development permits in the area falling within the 10-kilometer radius around the Konza Technopolis dubbed Konza Planning Zone for a period of 90 days. The three counties indicated the decision was reached to pave way for development of an inter-county physical and land development plan for regulation of land use within Konza City's buffer zone.
About 3 weeks ago, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i and his ICT counterpart Joe Musheru were in Konza City to preside over the groundbreaking ceremony of an ultra-modern security command at the Konza Technopolis. It was during a meeting with Kitui, Machakos and Makueni governors that Dr. Matiang'i indicated the need for governments to work together in protecting the ecosystem around Konza Technopolis so as to deliver value to investors and properties around the special planning zone. On Tuesday, the county government of Machakos, Makueni and Kajiado announced they had suspended the issuance of new development permits in the area falling within the 10-kilometer radius around the Konza Technopolis, dubbed Konza Planning Zone, for a period of 90 days. In a joint statement, the three counties indicated the decision was reached to enable a newly constituted Inter-County Joint Physical and Land Use Planning Committee to develop an Inter-County Physical and Land Use Development Plan to provide guidelines and standard for regulation of land use practices and general development within the zone. The three counties, in consultation with the national government, to provide a mutually agreed spatial development framework for symbiotic and sustainable coexistence between the Konza Technopolis.
Zoning and how this ecosystem is going to be protected so that we realize the results that we desire. Konza is now evidence of what happens when all arms of government, when leaders at all levels work together, cooperate, and focus on things that matter. What matters here is delivering this project for the people of Kenya.
Terry Njenga, Channel 1 Business.
Separately, the Warehousing Receipt System Council says existing warehouses across the country do not meet the required standards to store farmers' produce. The council's acting CEO, Samuel Ogola, says existing warehouses cannot effectively support the recently rolled out warehousing receipt system. This has prompted the council to enter into an MOU with the Kenya Investment Authority in a deal that will see Ken Invest scouting for investors to put up modern warehousing facilities.
The Warehousing Receipt System Council has cleared over 100 warehousing facilities under the recently rolled out warehousing receipt system. However, the council acting CEO, Samuel Ogola, is declaring the poor state of the storage facilities. Ogola is therefore calling for more investment in aggregation centers and storage facilities to support the warehousing receipt system.
Because of underfunding in agriculture, by the private sector and other institutions, most of the warehouses are not in a very good state, and they need an injection of finances to improve the infrastructure.
These are the first batch of 100 bags of maize under the warehousing receipt system have been received at the NCPB silos in Nakuru.
CBO in Nakuru who delivered 100 bags of maize, and a receipt has already been issued. And we are now working together with the warehouse to get them a market at the best prevailing prices.
In a deal signed on Tuesday, Ken Invest committed to scout for both local and international investors to put up warehousing facilities in efforts to reduce post-harvest losses.
This system, warehouse receipt system, you can imagine now where you take your potatoes. If there's no good price, you take it to a warehouse where it can be stored in cold storage. You can get a receipt. You can use that receipt to get some credit from a financial institution, pay school fees.
The council has earmarked 13 crops, including beans and maize, to be under the warehousing receipt system. Benson Riopa reporting for Channel 1 Business.
And a section of farmers in Murang'a County are embracing aerial yam farming as an alternative to coffee farming. The yams fetch between 5,000 to 7,000 shillings per bucket, with a mature vine producing 2 kilograms of yams.
What matters here is delivering this project for the people of Kenya.
Terry Njenga, Channel 1 Business.
Separately, the Warehousing Receipt System Council says existing warehouses across the country do not meet the required standards to store farmers' produce. The council's acting CEO, Samuel Ogola, says existing warehouses cannot effectively support the recently rolled out warehousing receipt system. This has prompted the council to enter into an MOU with the Kenya Investment Authority in a deal that will see Ken Invest scouting for investors to put up modern warehousing facilities.
The Warehousing Receipt System Council has cleared over 100 warehousing facilities under the recently rolled out warehousing receipt system. However, the council acting CEO, Samuel Ogola, is declaring the poor state of the storage facilities. Ogola is therefore calling for more investment in aggregation centers and storage facilities to support the warehousing receipt system.
Because of underfunding in agriculture, by the private sector and other institutions, most of the warehouses are not in a very good state, and they need an injection of finances to improve the infrastructure.
These are the first batch of 100 bags of maize under the warehousing receipt system have been received at the NCPB silos in Nakuru.
CBO in Nakuru, who delivered 100 bags of maize, and a receipt has already been issued. And we are now working together with the warehouse to get them a market at the best prevailing prices.
In a deal signed on Tuesday, Ken Invest committed to scout for both local and international investors to put up warehousing facilities in efforts to reduce post-harvest losses.
This system, warehouse receipt system, you can imagine now where you take your potatoes. If there's no good price, you take it to a warehouse where it can be stored in cold storage. You can get a receipt. You can use that receipt to get some credit from a financial institution, pay school fees.
The council has earmarked 13 crops, including beans and maize, to be under the warehousing receipt system. Benson Riopa reporting for Channel 1 Business.
And a section of farmers in Murang'a County are embracing aerial yam farming as an alternative to coffee farming. The yams fetch between 5,000 to 7,000 shillings per bucket, with a mature vine producing 2 kilograms of yams.
Coffee farmers in the country have been dealing with reduced earnings and marketing challenges, as the once lucrative cash crop has been blighted with mismanagement of coffee cooperatives. However, some farmers are diversifying to other ventures such as yams, which they say take little space and can be intercropped with other short-term food crops.
Nikaenda kwa rafiki mmoja wangu akanipatia kati ya mwaka wa 2008 akanipatia hii mbegu, akaniambia enda upande. So wakati nilipoenda nikapanda, nikaona iko na manufaa mazuri, nikakula, nikaongeza, nikakula, tena nikapatia marafiki wakapanda. Baadaye nikaona hii ni biashara inaweza kuwa inaweza kuniletea pesa.
A mature vine produces an average of 2 kilos of yams, with a bucket of yam fetching at least 5,000 shillings. The yams are said to have a ready market due to their numerous health benefits.
Debe moja waweza kuuza kati ya 5,000 na 6,000 sababu soko iko. Na pia huwa tunasiaga unga na hiyo unga inapendwa sana na watu.
Farmers now want both the county and national government to provide them with extension services and quality seeds to boost production.
Just kuuliza ni serikali vile inaweza kutusaidia ukuja kutusomeza mambo ya kulima, kwa sababu sisi tuko na chama hata kama sio kubwa, ikija tusomeza juu ya hivi vile tunaweza kulima, tunaweza saidika sana juu ya mafunzo yao.
Benson Riopa reporting for Channel 1 Business.
Let's now get the sports, and the process of vaccinating women Premier League clubs in the country is underway with the hope that the Minister of Sports will give a go-ahead to the resumption of football activities in the country. All sporting activities in the country were stopped last month following a rise in the number of COVID-19 cases.
Most women Premier League players were vaccinated today across the country with the hope that football activities will resume soon, despite the growing numbers of COVID-19 cases. Following Football Kenya Federation's warning that players who will not be vaccinated will be locked out of the game on resumption, most players and officials were vaccinated today as they await the whistle for kickoff. Vihiga Queens, Kayole Starlets and Gospel Women FC were among the players who received their vaccine today, all of them urging the government to reconsider its stand and allow football activities to continue.
Kumekuwa na challenges mingi ever since COVID ianze, juu sports inafungwa, tuna lose fitness, tuna train less days, but at least sasa hivi wenye tumepata hii vaccine kuna hopes vitu zitarudi vizuri very soon.
Sisi kama players tunaumia, like football is everything to us, you know, and most of footballers hawana kitu kingine yenye wanategemea, ni football tu tunategemea. So mimi nataka iende kwa gavai, like wafungue, like sisi kama players tunaumia.
At the moment hatuko kwa uwanja, kwa sasa inakuwa ngumu, ni wazazi watoyu sasa wanateseka, but kama tungekuwa tumeshafunguliwa, at least watoyu wangekuwa wanateseka, because at least napata kitu at the end of the day.
The Women League was stopped after match day 7 following a late kick-off to the season, still due to the coronavirus.
Ukiangalia players wetu na makochi huku nje tuna struggle sana juu ya venye mpira imesimama. So chanje ikiwa inatupea motisha na inatupea morale ya kumake sure tunaweza rudi anytime kwa kucheza.
COVID imeaffect sana sisi wana sports pakubwa sana. Remember, our wachezaji hawawezi play, and when they cannot play, then it becomes difficult for them to put bread on the table. So it has affected their family and many other people. So we believe, and it's our prayer, that the whole program runs across the board.
European countries opted to continue with sporting activities but under locked doors, same as Kenya just before the matches were stopped again last month.
The World Football Governing Body, FIFA, has slapped Kenyan Premier League side Wazito FC with a 3-window transfer ban. FIFA cracked the whip after Wazito failed to comply with an order that directed the club to pay 2 former players, Paul Akwa and Mansu Agu, for wrongful dismissal.
Football Kenya Federation Premier League side Wazito FC have
Most women Premier League players were vaccinated today across the country with the hope that football activities will resume soon, despite the growing numbers of COVID-19 cases. Following Football Kenya Federation's warning that players who will not be vaccinated will be locked out of the game on resumption, most players and officials were vaccinated today as they await the whistle for kickoff. Vihiga Queens, Kayole Starlets and Gospel Women FC were among the players who received their vaccine today, all of them urging the government to reconsider its stand and allow football activities to continue.
Kumekuwa na challenges mingi ever since COVID ianze juu sports inafungwa, tuna lose fitness, tuna train less days, but at least sasa hivi venye tumepata hii vaccine kuna hopes vitu zitarudi vizuri very soon. Sisi kama players tunaumia like football is everything to us, you know, and most of footballers hawana kitu kingine yenye wanategemea, ni football tu tunategemea. So mimi nataka iende kwa gavai like wafungue, like sisi kama players tunaumia.
At the moment hatuko kwa uwanja, kusai inakuwa ngumu, ni wazazi watoyu sasa wanateseka, but kama tungekuwa tumeshafunguliwa at least watoyu wangekuwa wanateseka because at least napata kitu at the end of the day.
The Women League was stopped after match day 7 following a late kick-off to the season, still due to the coronavirus.
Ukiangalia players wetu na makochi huku nje tuna struggle sana juu ya venye mpira imesimama. So chanje ikiwa inatupea motisha na inatupea morale ya kumake sure tunaweza rudi anytime kwa kucheza.
COVID imeaffect sana sisi wana sports pakubwa sana. Remember, our wachezaji hawawezi play, and when they cannot play then it becomes difficult for them to put bread on the table. So it has affected their family and many other people. So we believe, and it's our prayer, that the whole program runs across the board.
European countries opted to continue with sporting activities but under locked doors, same as Kenya just before the matches were stopped again last month.
The World Football Governing Body FIFA has slapped Kenyan Premier League side Wazito FC with a 3-window transfer ban. FIFA cracked the whip after Wazito failed to comply with an order that directed the club to pay 2 former players, Paul Akwa and Mansu Agu, for wrongful dismissal.
Football Kenya Federation Premier League side Wazito FC have been banned by World Football Governing Body FIFA from signing players from the next 3 transfer windows after failure to compensate players who were released. Wazito was ordered to pay 6 players: Ghanaian forward Paul Akwa, Togolese defender Isofu Buhana, Uganda midfielder Mansu Safi Agu, Liberian Agostin Otu, and DRC Congo forward Bikas Muhindu, who were wrongfully dismissed 2 seasons ago, but the club had only managed to pay 4, forcing FIFA to take action. FIFA has since directed Football Kenya Federation to ensure that the order is complied with, beginning the next transfer window. Wazito now joins AFC Leopards, who were handed a 2-year ban last month for the same offense, while Gor Mahia might also face sanctions from Zurich for failing to clear player arrears.
Timu ya Wazito imeweza kuandika kimiani bao kupitia kijana Oburu, ambaye ni nguvu mpya.
And reigning champions Bayern Munich will need to overturn a 3-2 first leg defeat when they face PSG in Paris tonight in the second leg quarter-final match of the European Champions League. Now, in the second match of the day, Porto play Chelsea at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan in Spain. Chelsea has a 2-0 advantage from the last meeting.
Bayern Munich manager Hansi Flick has said his side need to cause a mini upset if they are to progress past PSG and reach the Champions League semi-finals. PSG will host Bayern at the Parc des Princes for their quarter-final second leg tie. The French champions head into tonight's encounter with a 3-2 away first leg win. However, PSG will be without captain Marquinhos, who is injured, but Italy midfielder Marco Verratti and fullback Alessandro Florenzi are in contention. Bayern will be without top scorer Robert Lewandowski and Serge Gnabry, but Leon Goretzka, Lucas Hernandez, Jerome Boateng and Kingsley Coman should be fit. The German club will be looking to progress from a Champions League knockout tie after losing the first leg for the first time since 2015. Staring down the barrel of elimination in the Champions League 2004 champions, Porto will endeavour to overturn a 2-0 deficit from the first leg of their quarter-final with Chelsea when they do battle in Sevilla tonight. Goals from Mason Mount and Ben Chilwell propelled the Blues to a comfortable 2-0 win in the first meeting.
I think for us it's important that we in the end get fully focused on us and play the best game possible again, because this increases all the chances to have a result. In terms of adapting to the result, it's easier for Porto because they know very, very well what they need to do. They need to score 3 goals if they want to go through. So for them, it's absolutely clear.
Chelsea are blessed with a fully fit squad after the return of N'Golo Kante, while their opponents have few concerns on the injury front, with Diogo Costa, Ivan Marcano and Mohamed Mbaye, the only players expected to miss out for the away side, but will welcome both Mehdi Taremi and 19-goal midfielder Sergio Oliveira back to the squad after suspensions. The Portuguese side will be aiming to inflict a first defeat to Chelsea's Champions League campaign this season.
Well, that brings us to the end of Channel 1 News this Tuesday night. It's always a great pleasure having you company, and thank you also for interacting with us on our social media platforms. Of course, on Facebook, we had a lot of your feedback. We have Daniel Kamau Mushangi. You are tuned in from Kajiado County. Thank you, Maria. You also tuned in from Kisumu County. Many thanks. And also on Twitter, just 1 or 2 of your feedback. Of course, Daniel Omondi tuned in as usual from Kajiado County. And then we also have at Peterson, you are watching Channel 1 News Hour. It's always a great pleasure. My name is Purity Museo. Thank you so much for your company. And Anne Wangeshi has been our sign language interpreter tonight. Do enjoy the rest of the week and God bless.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. My name is Irene Mchuma Odem. Tonight, the whole country is experiencing wet conditions, save for a few areas over the northeastern parts of the country and also the coastal strip, where there are partly cloudy conditions over a few places. But tomorrow it will be a wet Wednesday across the country. There'll be light rains in Mandera, Wajir, Lodwar during the early morning hours. The capital, Mary, Machakos, Nyeri, Makindu will experience light rains during the morning hours, and this will be characterized with cloudy weather conditions. The coastal strip will mainly experience scattered wet conditions. The Lake Basin region will experience wet conditions during the early morning hours, and this will also stretch to the northwestern parts of the country. And in the afternoon, the capital, Meru, Nyeri, Machakos, Kitui will experience showers accompanied by thunderstorms, and this has not happened for quite a while, and these are weather patterns that will also be experienced over several places in the western parts of Kenya and the Lake Basin region. Also, the northeastern parts of the country will experience scattered wet conditions in the afternoon. The coastal strip will mainly be sunny, but a few areas in Lamu will continue to experience wet conditions. And when we look at temperatures, this is how our Wednesday will be. The highest across the country will be experienced in Lodwar and Garissa at 37 degrees Celsius. The capital will experience highs of 26 degrees Celsius. Let's now cross the borders and have a look at the international forecast. Be warm. See you tomorrow, God willing.
Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design and soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages,